I call the meeting to order.
Meeting has been posted according to open meeting laws.
Roll call.
President Seeger.
Here.
Trustee Renici.
Here.
Commissioner Arndt.
Here.
Commissioner Batani.
Here.
Commissioner Hayes. Commissioner Leaderhouse.
Here.
And Commissioner Morath.
Here.
Thank you.
Just a quick reminder, everybody, we are trying to televise these meetings, so any responses will definitely need to be using the mic. Any participants in the audience, if there's anything that you will be speaking about, we'll need you to come to the podium and touch the button on the mic and speak that way. With that being said, citizen participation per Village Resolution 2017-01. Anyone wishing to address the Planning Commission during citizen participation will be allowed 5 minutes. Your subject can be anything, whether on the agenda or not. The Planning Commission should not engage in a discussion regarding comments because it was not part of a publicly noticed agenda. Upon conclusion of the citizen participation segment, members of the audience are not allowed further comment unless they are participating in a public hearing or are specifically allowed by a majority vote by the Planning Commission due to involvement in the agenda. With that being said, would anybody like to speak during citizen participation? Anybody like to speak during citizen participation? Last time. It's a lot of fun. Podium, microphone. Citizen participation? No? Okay. We'll close citizen participation and move on to approval of the Planning Commission minutes from March 14th.
Motion to approve minutes as presented.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we've got a lot on the agenda today, guys, and I think that we all should have done our due diligence to read the staff report. So what I'd like to do is, as I run through these items that are on our agenda, if you have questions, remember we're going to be talking about the facade on these buildings as far as colors, things of that sort, things that this body can make decisions about. So just keep that in mind, and we probably won't go through the normal that we've had Tim just reading what he's already written and presented for you. So with that being said, we'll start with downtown design review renovations to modify the facade of existing building located at 2920 Main Street, Alexander Grant Alger, applicant, application 2022-07. Questions from anybody about that improvement with the windows and door?
I do not.
I think it's a nice update. I'll make a motion if we're ready.
Second.
I'll make a motion to approve the revisions to the facade as proposed in application, what is this one? 2022-07. That's...
All right, a second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. All right. Downtown design review renovations to modify the facade of an existing building located at 2874 Main Street, ROP 00054. Sorry. Thank you very much. Again, like I said, there is a lot on this agenda. So, building located at 2787 Main Street, ROP 0056. Stan Spian Properties, LLC. Kitty Stickman, agent, application 2022-10. This one we've got some improvements with the materials that are going on the building, some color changes, improvements around the windows. Any questions about that at all?
I will make a motion that we approve the revisions to the facade as proposed.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now on to number 9, downtown design review, renovations to modify the facade of an existing building located at 2874 Main Street, ROP 00054, Square Side, Properties, Dan Parman, agent, application 2022-11. Any questions on this one?
I did have one question on this one. On the back side, I believe it's page 3, where the existing windows were long ago and they've been since covered up with the brown, I think it's aluminum or wood, are those going to be re-bricked in, or are they just going to be recovered?
So, are you talking about, so this is on the east side?
Yes.
This side here? Yeah, so there's gonna be a sign, in the left, on the left there, there'll be a sign, you know, for the, Square Side Boutique. And then those windows, well, the 2 windows are gonna, you know, stay windows, but the 2 that are blank there are just gonna be painted white. Like the rest of the brick. So all of the brick is gonna, the whole side of the building, the block, there's actually stone there on the left, and then there's block on the right, and all of that is gonna be painted white with black trim.
Any other questions? Tim?
So it was mentioned that you had intentions of putting a sign on the left-hand side of that?
Correct.
Okay. So that really wasn't part of the application, so we don't know if the sign area is going to be compliant, so we just want to make sure that that's part of the record, that that's not also being approved.
Yeah, we would probably, that, you know, things change, right? And so, we kind of decided that, a couple of months ago after we had submitted, the request for consideration.
We have a signed ordinance that we need to follow with that stuff, so it'd just be another piece of paper that you fill out and then come before this board again, possibly, if it's, something we need to talk about.
We were under the impression that that sign had to be approved once, you know, once we designed it and everything.
Yep, definitely. Right.
But the approval will be separate from what we're doing tonight.
Right. But, exception of the, not filling that stone in there, is it?
I was talking about the sign.
Oh, the sign, right?
Yeah, we can't prove the sign tonight, but everything else is on this.
Correct.
I'll be looking for a motion then.
Make a motion to approve the revisions to the facade as proposed.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. All right, moving on to downtown design review, renovations to modify the facade of the existing building located at 2097 Division Street, ROP 00072, East Troy LLC. Mike Rodkers, applicant, application 2022-12. Questions about the improvements to the gas station?
I did have one on this also. As the design here, are we eliminating this, cedar shake overhang? Is that completely getting eliminated? Yeah, that's correct.
Any other questions from anybody? Tim?
So here again, there are some renderings for the signage, the wall signs. You know, we're not sure how big those are. So again, I think the motion is stated so that that would have to be, you know, verified, make sure it's compliant. And one of the second last page or third last page, where you can see the canopy, yeah, that one. So that wall sign extends above the roof line, the parapet, and that wouldn't have to be, you know, brought down to not exceed the height of the parapet. So on the left-hand side of the image there, on the building itself, where it says arc.
sign?
Yeah. The top of that can't be taller than the parapet.
Okay, that can be adjusted, that's fine.
So again, just so you know, any approvals that happen, you'll have to come back again for any kind of signage.
Yep, understand. Thank you.
I'll be looking for a motion again.
I'll make a motion to approve the revisions to the facade as proposed, providing the zoning administrator verifies the area of the proposed arc sign complies with the sign requirements, which has already been discussed.
Second that. Well, we're not approving the sign.
Basically, you know, the sign, you know, component of the downtown design, you're looking at color and placement, so on and so forth. So in this case, I think it's, you know, permissible. But again, the stipulation is we just want to, you know, make sure that based on the size of the building, that the size of the sign is compliant, and also that it's brought down below the top of the parapet. Maybe if the motion could be amended.
I will make an amendment to the motion that the approval will have to be contingent upon the revision, or the review of the signage. Is that what you need?
Why don't we go back to his staff report and look at the proposed motion, and read it that way, and
So that was the motion, but I just want to make sure that, again, that you're not approving the sign to extend above the parapet. So if that motion could be amended accordingly, I think that would be appropriate.
basically identifying that the signage needs to comply not going above the parapet wall.
Would go through the sign license or sign approval process, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
But everything else, the exterior?
That's where we're trying to put a motion together right now on, yes.
Fine, that's, how do you want me to word this again?
I'll make an
Go ahead.
amendment to the motion, identifying that the signage should comply with our current ordinance, not going above the parapet wall. For a second on that.
Second.
Any discussion? We're going to vote on the amendment first. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Original motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to design review, renovations to modify the facade of the existing building located at 2893 Main Street, ROP 00110, J&S on Main LLC, James R. Taylor Jr. and Stevie L. Taylor, application 2022-13. I'd like to say that I really enjoyed looking at this one. That's an incredible improvement to this building. So it looks great.
I'll make a motion to approve the revisions to the facade as proposed.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now, site plan for two-family industrial building, total of 24 rentable units, located at 2460 Executive Drive, RA 401900001. Level Up Investments, Tim Shekel and Jared Randall, Katie McDonald Agent, application 2022-08. Tim?
I want to make sure that the applicant is here. Okay. So it's pretty straightforward, and not sure if you want to have them go first, but there's a couple of issues just wanted to be aware of. There is a stormwater easement on the one side of the property, and you can talk about that, how that's going to be taken care of. There is, a question. So basically on one side of the building, or perhaps on both, it's kind of a slope site where you have kind of the stepped floors. Okay. And it's probably more of a building code issue, but you've got the sidewalk right next to that ledge.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's an issue or not. Where the building code goes.
Should be ADA compliant for.
We'll probably have to add a little railing there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I was
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a railing,
And,
Make sure that when you guys do, just step up to the mic, so.
sure. And the other, it's more or less a comment, normally you would see bollards at the sides of the garage doors?
I would definitely introduce some bollards, that's no problem.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, I think I'll just let you kind of, walk through your proposal.
Sure.
Obviously, you're putting a lot of money into it, so just take 5 minutes and,
First of all, my name is Jared Randall, resident of East Troy. Partner Tim Shekel. We own Level Up Construction and Investments. And this is Katie. She is our civil engineer that's on the project. We're looking to propose 2 buildings in the East Troy Business Park. These are business condos. So the cool thing about these is you own them. Great for a small business. Right away, when small business comes in, as you know, we rent. You don't get that money. As a condo, we already have, some income coming through. For East Troy, we have a lot of small business here, and I think it'd be a great fit for in that park. These are about 1,400 square feet. They come pretty much white box, bathroom in each suite. For the community, I feel it's just a great fit. You're starting to see them all over southeast Wisconsin. You're starting to see them everywhere. Right into the business park.
I agree with that statement. It does fit with our business park, and it's a great model for those smaller businesses that can't afford to put up a whole building themselves.
is the intent to build both of them at the same time, or?
It would probably be because...
Could you speak into the mic, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right now, we have not done any buildings like this before. We've built plenty of them, not for ourselves, so we are probably going to do one at a time. How they sell. We're working with Ray Gooden on this and things about getting them filled up right away. But we're going to propose one at a time.
And as a follow-up, basically, you were talking about, these are going to be, individual units, so you're going to have to follow up with a condo plat, right?
Yes.
We haven't seen that yet, so.
We have not. We're trying this process first before we go any further, and some money invested in this. We want to see how far we get, but yes, we're going to develop a condo association.
And then just one final point with regard to the outdoor lighting. You're just a little bit over the foot candle right at the property boundary line, so if you can kind of tweak those lights.
Yes, that'll be adjusted.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice on I believe, staff report. It says building materials, the exterior walls will consist of concrete panels with accent features. It's not really concrete. It is a siding. It's a pre-finished, pre-colored siding, but it's smooth. Not,
Is it LP?
yes,
LP Smart?
yes,
Okay.
but it's smooth and it looks like the picture.
Lap siding?
I wouldn't call it lap siding. It's 4x8, 4x10, 4x12 sheets of smooth LP,
They're totally smooth, they're not T111s?
not T111.
Okay, and they're not board and batten?
No batten.
Okay.
And then the other error I noticed in summary, the proposed motion, it says, approve the site plan and operation for the project consisting of the 40,000 square foot building. So it should be the two 15,000, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
I'm sorry, just to make sure I get, you had two 15,000 square foot buildings?
More accurate, it's 15,760 or so.
Got the correct number? Is it 17,650, I'm sorry, 15,650 square feet? It's a small point.
It's within the staff report, we're gonna go with it, we'll double check it.
Okay.
15,650 square feet, okay, right?
He wants to go 15,651. Any other discussion, any other questions? Nothing, then I'm looking for a motion.
Okay, I'll give it another shot here. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the site plan and the plan of operation for the project consisting of two 15,650 square foot buildings as set forth in the submittal documents provided with subparagraph 1, the village engineer approves the stormwater management plan. Subparagraph 2, the petitioner submits a revised outdoor lighting plan to comply with the maximum lighting level at the lot line to the zoning administrator and obtains approval of the same. And subparagraph 3, the petitioner obtains a zoning permit from the zoning administrator prior to any land disturbing activity related to the project.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to the certified survey map to merge two adjoining parcels. Yep, you're welcome. On the east side of Edward Street, RCRA 0006, RCRA 0007, Home Path Financial Limited Partnership, Chris Hitch, agent, application 2022-14.
My name is Sean Maher with Madison Maher Architects. Chris is not here, but I can answer any questions you may have.
I just have a question in general. These are probably one of the few lots left in that area on Edward Street to be developed, is it not?
I think so, yeah. We're sandwiched between some apartments and a house to the north.
Tim?
So just real quickly, there are two items on the agenda relating to the project. The first is to take the two parcels, merge them into one, so that's the first action item on the CSM, and then we can get into more detail about the actual apartment complex.
Sure. Any questions about the CSM and the merging of the two lots? Discussion at all on that? If not, I'm going to be looking for a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to recommend to the village board the approval of the certified survey map based on the general and specific conditions listed below, and there are 4 general conditions as stated and 6 specific conditions.
I'll second.
A second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. There's only one guy that does that. Site plan review for a 4-unit apartment building on the east side of Edward Street, RCRA 0006, RCRA 0007, Home Path Property Management, Cammie Brower, and Sean Mayer, agent 2022-09.
Us.
Did you want to talk on this, talk about the development itself?
Sure. It's a 4-plex apartment building. It's about 9,110 square feet, and that includes the garage space. There are 4 garages so each unit has its own garage. And they are 3-bedroom, units. And, we've just started looking at all the other requirements from landscaping and lighting, so that we'll have to follow up with that. So we're kind of just looking for initial thoughts on the facade of the building and what you guys think of it, and if we should change anything at this point.
Any comments, questions?
I think it's a nice looking building, and it's a nice transition from the condos to the house that is on the, north side of it. Got a good look to it.
So just a common question, so basically looking at the backside, there's no direct access from the units?
Right, the lower unit,
Yes.
on each end has a patio that can get you to the backside. Could you speak? Yeah, the lower units on the north and south, they have a patio on each side, and they can access the back, of the building that way. The other units just have the garage on the first floor, and then they go up, and their whole unit is upstairs. So they would have to go around to get to the back. But it's not that big of a building, and we figured, you know, they have a dog or something, it's gonna be a pet-friendly, apartment building, and if they need to run their dog around back there, they could.
If people have to walk back there, will there be a sidewalk for people to walk on that?
Not necessarily, but, you know, if it's a requirement, we would certainly address it.
And sure.
I don't think the intended use is to like really have the tenants utilize the back portion of the space. Like Sean said, the tenants on the sides of the buildings will utilize the outdoor space to the sides, and then the upper units will have their outdoor space with the balconies above the garages. So the back of the building isn't really meant to be a real livable space. We've kind of tried to utilize other areas for people to get that outdoor access.
So there won't be any, like, patios or resting area or pools or anything back there, then that's going to be used?
No, and the grades kind of start going up pretty fast back there, by about 8 feet.
The idea of that side entrance, though, is it's pretty consistent with what's there already. Those condos don't have that rear access like you're talking about. They just have the side door and the garage door itself for the first floor unit. Consistent with what's already there.
The other comment, if you could go to the plan view, Lori? Sorry, Eileen. The overall site. So yes, if you can kind of zoom in there a little bit. Again, you know, maybe it's a common question, but the alignment of the approach to the garage doors, can you kind of center that driveway a little bit more?
Yeah, I started doing that, today.
Okay.
And so our revised plan's coming in with the site engineering and the utility plan and the erosion control plan will show those centered a little bit better.
Okay.
So the drive would actually be centered more on the overhead door of the garage?
Right, there's a single overhead door, and then there's a double wide, overhead door on each side. And right now, it's more centered on the ones, and, you know, the single overhead door. So we'll center it between the two doors, so they both will just have to weave a little bit to get in and out.
And as mentioned in the staff report, you know, we need some more details on the landscaping.
Yep.
Other than that, it's
Any questions, comments? Any questions or comments? I'll be looking for a motion.
Can I ask one question, quick, please?
No.
Pretty please. I guess I just wanted to ask, and I know that we've had some questions and some issues in the past with the setbacks of the buildings and then the driveways as far as trying to make turns, remember, with the grass and the setback and all that. I just want to make sure that we're not going to get into another problem. And it's nothing against you. We've had these problems with other developers and people, after the home's been built and everything, they can't really access the garage without driving on the grass. And according to code, they're not allowed to make the driveways any bigger. It's kind of a tough.
Yeah, I'll work with Cammie and Chris Hitch at R.I. Smith, and we'll try to develop some strategies to keep people from, you know, running over cutting those corners because, I'm sure just even as a maintenance issue, you know,
I don't want to have to fix the grass.
No. We'll look at that.
Yeah.
I guess I will make a motion to approve the site plan for the project, provided, one, the petitioner submits a detailed landscape plan to the zoning administrator and obtains approval of the same. Paragraph 2, the petitioner submits a revised site plan showing the driveway approaches more aligned to the center of the garage face. Paragraph 3, the petitioner merges the two existing parcels to form a single parcel. And paragraph 4, the petitioner obtains a zoning permit for the proposed project within 12 months of this date of approval.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Discussion related to potential revisions to the Village Zoning Code, Chapter 510, by establishing a central business transition, CBT, description and related matters. Tim?
So in your packet is a map showing the downtown area. And then, Jason, he put together, some information on parking restricted areas. And the whole discussion is with regard to if a residential property is to be converted to, you know, some form of retail or professional office where the people are going to be parking. So this was requested as a point of information. So if you look at the map, there's, you know, obviously no parking along the area that's yellow. So in that case, we would make sure that if a property goes from, you know, single family to something more, then whatever parking is going to be required has to be on site. That makes sense. Okay. But as far as the other, you know, parking restrictions, you know, the issue is there enough parking for a slight increase in activity of people, pedestrians, and business activity. So, you know, obviously that's a policy question. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. But the intent here is to, you know, take advantage of what's there and allow some increase of, you know, economic activity without making people do the investment of on-site parking. And when you get into on-site parking, then you get into issues about people, you know, pulling into next to a residential property and the headlights are shining at the neighbor's house and so on and so forth. So, you know, it's one of these things, it's like, yeah, it kind of makes sense, but you might be creating more problems for the neighbors than if you kind of allow on-street parking.
We're talking about that yellow strip of property or roadway. The majority of all those homes would have the opportunity to accommodate some kind of parking.
Yes.
And the way I looked at this whole idea of this central business transition was giving the people the opportunity to run a business out of their home if they wanted to, not changing anything at all that says they have to do that. And some of the businesses that we have nowadays don't necessarily require somebody to have parking. They may not need anybody to come to the house at all except for the Amazon truck. So it's, I think it's something that we deal with on a case-by-case basis as it comes to us. I'm not sure why we would change too much as far as our parking requirements, aside from identifying maybe somewhere in this transition to state that on a case-by-case basis, we would address any parking issues. Can we do that, Tim?
So, you're trying to not create a standard, but allow an opportunity to require it if the circumstance, you know, warrants it, right? And the problem is, you know, crafting that language to say, well, maybe it's going to be required. That's kind of the partial issue.
As I said in the last meeting, I think we're going to have to require something to be on site, whether it be a spot or two to help eliminate some of the, I think I'm looking mostly at like Mill Street too. not necessarily, main coming in. But if we have a professional building that there's 4 employees and we don't restrict them, at least they have to park 1 or 2 cars in their own driveway lot, we're gonna have 4 cars on the road and they're gonna leave it open in their driveway. So we have to come up with some kind of language to at least force them, I guess, to say, to utilize their own parking for at least 1 or 2 cars. I don't know what the answer is for that, but we need to figure out something. And I don't think it's a good idea to leave it open on a case-by-case, because then we can show favoritism, which wouldn't be good.
I also would think that, there are some issues that I think could be closed out right now. And I do know, like, the area marked in green that wants parking from, no parking from 2 to, it's hard to read, I'm sorry. 2:30 to 6, or, that's so Jason can clear the square of snow, I'm thinking. The DPW would have to get out there, but again, I'm just surmising. But I can tell you that the area on the east side of Division Street, south of the square that's marked in orange, the new curb area that basically is next to the parking area between the curb and the old Lakeside Painting Building, that definitely has to be marked out and hashed at no parking. Because of the angle parking now that's on the west side of Division there, and you still want a two-way traffic, there's no way any vehicles can park on that curb, because it won't work. There's not enough room. So that definitely would have to, I would think the curb would be painted yellow, and there would be yellow hash marks out there for no parking at all. The back side, the south side of Austin, and that really, I look out my kitchen window and I can see that. That road of Austin Street is pretty wide. That actually, the Austin Street is wider there than in most areas of the village, because that building used to be Parker Pen, and Parker used to have trucks come in to deliver and pick up materials, and that's one reason why the road is wider there.
Okay, so thanks for that. So now we still have to figure out if we want to put something together as a sort of parking regulation for all that, right?
I'm thinking we want to break it down a little bit farther into the separate areas that are, if you want to break it down to the color-coded areas separately, and I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to go about it.
When we started talking about this, it was really just a matter of allowing those people that own properties within that area, if they wanted to do more with their home, if they wanted to run a small business out of it, was the opportunity to do so. Now we're kind of identifying, okay, now this business transition area is now our new business area, and this is what we're going to require when these all turn into businesses. Not going to. Going to stay single-family homes, and it's just a simple mom-and-pop shop that's in there, and I just don't see. I get what you guys are all saying, and I understand the idea of not leaving it open because you're worried about favoritism, but I think that there's just too many individual anomalies within this area that we've identified as this transition to not leave it as an opportunity to simply look at it as a case-by-case. If you look at some of those areas down Main Street, some of those homes have large enough driveway areas that are gravel at this point, some of them, that would more than adequately accommodate some kind of off-street parking.
Maybe it's something as simple as we have to specify parking must be used on the property first, utilized initially. Parking is full on the property, then street parking. But it'll just get some kind of text in there that says utilize the parking on the property first. Something as simple as that.
Can we do something like that, Tim? Because I don't want to complicate this. This isn't something that we're opening up a huge business area within the community. We just want people to utilize their properties that they own.
So, that makes sense. You can simply say that, for every business has to provide at least 2 parking spaces, except in those instances where, there's not not, enough lot area or something like that to, you know, accommodate that. Then you could waive that parking requirement. Something like that would work. You've got a standard, but then you've got a way to back out of it if it's not gonna work.
Exactly. I don't believe we're gonna have our police department going up and down the street looking for parking violations, but at least if we get something in writing that gives somebody, hey, we gotta utilize our lot first. That's it. Simple as that.
Could we come up with like 5 different scenarios of like different businesses that could be developed from a home into a business, like a daycare or a accounting firm or something, just 5 examples, and say every other type of business will be a case-by-case basis. Like a daycare needs so many spots, or like an accounting firm, if you have 4 employees, you need a parking for 2 or 3 or all 4 employees, or whatever we come up with. Like, you know, if you come up with a certain type of business, okay, how many spaces could that business need? And then any other scenario would be a case-by-case basis.
Because
I think there's just too many businesses out there, too many different ideas of what a business is.
you're gonna have parking spots for people working the business, and then you're gonna have transients, people coming and going.
So we do basically have parking standards for all kinds of businesses. Whether it's a bed and breakfast or a realtor's office or home daycare, whatever, you know, those standards exist. So those standards would apply, except as we modify it as part of the zoning code here. I think what the intent is to have, you know, if you're required to have, you know, 6 parking spaces based on the size of the business and so on and so forth, using our existing standards, then the standard would be you provide 50% on site unless there's not enough room to actually locate those parking spaces on site.
I hear what you're saying, Jacob, but we don't want to overcomplicate this. We kind of want to leave it open-ended so people can get in here and utilize this possibly in the future. I don't see it happening in the next 5, 10 years, but maybe 15, 20 years down the road, these can start transitioning. We just don't want to overcomplicate it at this point.
And the idea of what a business is today, I don't even know can be a business. I don't want to pigeonhole anybody.
Could be a Tesla dealership for all we know.
So Tim, do you have enough direction then to maybe write something up or
Yep.
bring something to us?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Discussion related to potential revisions to the Village Zoning Code, Chapter 510, by establishing an overlay district for design standards for TID number 4. Tim?
So I too was looking at the agenda, and I thought this was going to be a rather long meeting, and that's why I didn't provide any materials for this item in the packet. So shame on me.
We should talk.
Yes.
More often.
That's fine.
Any recommendations for future agendas?
I think we do need to get back on this driveway issue with the approaches, because we're hitting it again. It's going to be an issue, so we need to tackle this.
I agree 100% on that one. All right, next meeting, May 9th, at 6:30, right here. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thanks.